That's my prediction. Oh, here we go. And we put us live.
You didn't do a countdown, did
you? I didn't do it on purpose because you were going
shit house. What is it with you fucking two doing that anyway?
Not me. I was still browsing.
No, but you do it enough.
Prediction.
I'll get my own back. You shit house.
So nobody actually saw that, but if you do get chance when we've finished tonight, just go back to the first couple of seconds of tonight's podcast. Nobody was in the room yet, but
0.3 seconds.
The first
you might see me giving myself a little nipple twist.
He's in a better mood than he was 30 seconds ago. Anyway, any Gilly.
He is, mate.
I'm fuming.
It's just you guys bring the best out of me.
If anybody wonders why we are late, it is because Smarty decided to not have the answer, wasn't ready for the occasion, wasn't dressed, and basically Smarty's fault.
In my defence, I play football Mondays until 8 o'clock. So I did rush to get back.
Where do you play? Fucking Siberia?
Huddersfield.
Oh, do you really? That's quite distant.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
lots to get through tonight.
Lots
to get through. Lots to get through. But before we do, we'll run a quick intro.
Hi, this is Don Matteo, and you are listening to the Ought to Know Better podcast. Let's do this.
You look like fucking Brolin, you're a Leeds hating bastard. Look like some sort of fucking weird floating head. No.
It's a utensil player a bit, innit?
I mean, I feel a bit right, dickhead.
Nothing spectacular, really.
Good evening, and welcome to Series 3, Episode 30. Bloody hell, mate. Never saw it coming. We've probably actually done more episodes than Brookside ever did. Now, I reckon. How many episodes of Brookside do you reckon there was?
I have no idea. Did that go for a year? I never watched it. But didn't it go for
about 15? Was it about mid-80s that started and finished about...
I don't know. But Jimmy Corkle were a bit of a bugger,
Fawlty Towers. We've done that. We've beaten Fawlty Towers.
Yeah, they only
and the In-Betweeners.
Yeah.
The In-Betweeners and sort of stuff. Anyway, we do digress. Welcome, gents. How are we feeling? How are we both? Apart from being very late.
On top of the world. I was late as well. I'll put my hand up and say I was late as well. Smarty was even later, but I was late as well. Yeah. So, he's not carrying the camera.
Fashionably late as usual. That's right.
His hair got here on time, but he just had to bring the rest of him with it.
my head and my hair get there before I do. I'm very sweaty this evening. Which is not very good because I've got some brand, I don't know which way to go. Brand spanking new t-shirt on.
Yeah, we've all got thanks ever so much actually to Lee Fryer who's been in touch and sorted us out with some Andy's Man Club bits and bobs, and we'll come on to Andy's Man Club in a fucking hell.
We're a bit short of that. 2,915 episodes. We are a bit short.
Nah, surely not. J. Michaels will want some proof. I'm gonna whip.
That's a lot as that. That's almost like if there was one a day, that is almost 10 years worth every day. 3,650 would be 10 years, wouldn't it? So it's probably about 8 years every day. That can't be right.
Hey, he's not wrong, It says 3,000 episodes on here.
Hey, what?
1982 to 2003, really? Christ.
I thought it finished in...
We don't need to have decent content and we can have thousands of episodes.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yes, there'd be people like, well, what the fuck is Brookside? And it's like, it were a Scouse TV soap or soap opera.
Yeah, Scouse version of a Corrie, wasn't it? But a bit dirtier and a bit seedier, I think, is probably the best way to describe it.
Not the first televised lesbian kiss as well, something like that. So I think that's what it was famous for, wasn't it?
I think you might be right.
I could be wrong.
Not that I ever rewound it and then fast forwarded it back about 16 times. But when I was 14.
Okay.
Right, Arsenal lads. None of us were on with the two Musketeers yesterday. Jay and Carl. I'm sure they did a fantastic job. I haven't had a chance to actually listen to it back, so I don't know if they've talked bollocks or not. But
I haven't either. But I reckon I can probably spoil that for you.
But if you haven't watched it,
the fact that we're talking bollocks or the fact that we were on.
The fact that we're talking bollocks. But if you haven't watched it, go watch it.
Go watch it. Go watch
it.
Go watch our two exceptional feedback of the game, and they get some real detail in there in the feedback. So I'm sure it'll be a fantastic watch. Go watch it, find out, and tell me how it was, because I'm not going to watch it. I haven't done that. I probably will at some point. I don't know. Shall we talk about Arsenal anyway? Obviously we got beat comfortably in the end. But it didn't look plain sailing for Arsenal, did it, Smarty, to start with? Did you watch the game?
I tell you what, mate, you've made a fucking error straight away, because I ain't seen fuck all. I know that we lost 4.
Oh dear, we'll get him out before we get banned again.
You want to be careful playing them games, mate, because I can do exactly the same, but I'm not as pathetic as Jay.
But it Cardiff we got that response on.
Yeah, so sorry to the person who was no doubt going to give me some shit in the comments later. Can't believe it.
So we won't
come
to
podcast.
God, this is not a podcast.
Call us a fucking podcast. This is like some guys taking a beer around a pub. Yeah, no. I don't really know what you want me to say. Match it day.
Don't.
Yeah,
well, we lost.
I'll come to you, Gilly. It didn't look plain sailing, mate, did it?
It really didn't. You know what? For the first half an hour, and then genuinely, I think for the first half an hour, if you look back at the chances that the sides created, I think the Sinistera one that were a back heel would already flag for an offside. But I think if that goes in, VAR looks at it and decides it's not an offside. Jimmy had one. No, I think it was Cine with the back heel, wasn't it? And then Jimmy had one. In fact, I think we had 5 shots on target to their 1 in that first half an hour. And that is how it felt. I felt that they had the possession, but they didn't really do a lot with it. And then, they bought a free kick, bought a penalty, sorry. And that changed the entire complexity of the game. I think complexion of the game even. I think if you look at the way that we were set up to frustrate, we were set up to spoil, which I think against a side that is factually the best in the league up to this point this season, because they play 5 points or whatever it is, 8 points at the time at the top of the league. You go and play free-flowing football against them, and you're going to come unstuck. So I think it was fair to set up that way, but for that first half hour, I was sat there thinking, we are actually well in this game. We're not looking like we're going to get steamrolled. Now the scoreline itself looks like we did in the end. And to be fair, I think that the last 15-20 minutes they won that game at a counter, but they had to work for it in that first half. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And even coming out in the second half, I still felt there was something to take from that game. Or we could. Look, it was all Arsenal. They were pushing us back. We were playing a great defensive line. We defended really, really well, ironically, until they got the second. And as part of the second, there was poor defending as well. And obviously, Aylin's challenge for the first. But we set up to frustrate, and frustrate we did. And we also set up within 30 seconds. Rasmus had a shot on target. We had Harrison had a good effort on target as well. Ramsdale made some great saves, and on another day we could have, Aylin keeps his head. On another day we could have gone in at halftime 2 or 3-0 up. Believe it or not,
Aylin keeps his head. Oh, Jesus isn't a cheating bastard.
What are your thoughts about? Yeah, I was just going to say, you guys. I mean, I've seen bits. Obviously, the reason I wasn't here, I was down in Wales or whatever. But when I saw the final score, I thought, we've been absolutely well and truly beaten. But what do you reckon to that penalty? Because I've seen that back, and I thought, look, if I were a Wolves fan, there would be tears, and there would be all sorts of accusations flying around about the Football League referees and all that. So what?
It was soft as fuck, and they were already going down, but there was some contact, so that's why VAR don't overrule.
Letter of the law, it's a penalty.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think if you go back and look at the letter of the law, it now says that there needs to be enough contact to inhibit a player, and I don't think there was anything like that. And he were already going down before contact was made.
No, I agree, but his studs are in his knee. That's a foul anywhere else on the pitch.
Yeah, but his knee. I mean, I've seen it. His knee were bent. Now, a little tiny knock to and it was the tiniest of knocks of what I've seen, isn't going to make you fall over the way he fell over.
No, it'll send you the other way. If you get knocked on the knee, exactly. Like that.
So it complete an absolute dive. So, at some point you've got to step in. At what point do they go, well, hold on, that's wrong. Laws of physics and everything are pointing to the fact that he's dived there. So why are we giving that as a penalty? But it comes back to VAR and referees.
See, I think you look at it from our perspective.
So,
you look at it on the other perspective. We're screaming that we want a penalty there, don't we?
If it were the other way around, you'd want it all day long, wouldn't you? Of course you would. But what I'm saying
as you'd want a free kick anywhere else on the pitch as well. You know, the fact that he's milked it a little bit, and I don't think, if I'm honest with you, if he doesn't fall that way, I don't think the ref sees it and gives a penalty.
No.
I think VAR get involved then, and the referee sends it up as a no penalty, and I think they probably may stick with the referee's decision on that play.
Yeah, if that's given as a no penalty and VAR reviews it, I don't think it's overturned either. That's the weird thing about it, is it's not clear cut either way, but VAR is looking for a major mistake.
Again.
Yeah,
but I do think. But if I was reffing that game and I was neutral, and that was, I don't know, Birmingham against Villa, I would give that a penalty regardless. I think if I'd seen it, you know, just like because of this contact.
I'd have sent him off for being a cheating bastard.
Fair. Yeah, I mean,
he also looks like he's going to cry every single time he's caught on camera.
He does. Why does he look like that?
I don't know. He always looks like he's about to burst into tears, doesn't he? He just scored a goal and he looks like he's going to cry.
He looks like he's got one of them filters on where he look, when them, like you're going to start crying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, moving into the second half, some absolute sloppy defending within 2 minutes of the restart from not just one player, but probably a handful of players could be blamed for that second one. And yeah, switched off. Right, and then I sort of knew it was game over from there. Then really, I think if we'd have sort of come forward like we had at the start of the first half, and maybe got a goal back, I think it could have gone anywhere that game. But look, they're a good side of Arsenal. There's no denying it. They are a good side. That Saka didn't start. It was arguably their best player. They had one or two others out. Saliba at the back, who's been instrumental for him this season. So look, I didn't expect any different, and we'll come on to the predictions in a minute. But if we're realistic, you don't go away to top of the league as a relegation as a team in a relegation battle and expect to come away with much. Really, that's why I don't feel too disheartened.
I mean, I'm going to ask you guys a couple of questions because, like I said, I haven't seen much of it. But did we actually set up to counter? Would you say?
Yeah,
as rather a defensive manner, and then look to counter them. Is that why he played the faster players rather than McKennie and stuff in the middle?
I think
if you look at the chances we had, there were pretty much every single one was on a counter. I think.
I saw the lineup. The lineup came on my phone. I thought, wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, it was mad.
We all did that. Everybody.
It was mad. Everybody's like,
Rasmus in midfield.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I was like, hold on a minute. It stinks if we can strike /cocktail does this. What is happening?
Well, that's what. So Luke and I were in the group chat before the game, and we were trying to debate what on earth is going on with this lineup, and we were saying, is it Strike or Cock in central midfield? But we've seen him do that, and we've seen him not do it very well. So maybe it'll be a back three with wing backs, and we're only going to play one in midfield. And then the commentators in the build-up said, "Oh, and Rasmus Christensen's going to play in midfield." I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Honestly,
but it worked. He played all right in there.
He's doing all right in a minute.
He played right, and so if you watch it back, when we had the ball, he moved into a central defensive midfielder. But when we were under a lot of pressure, he sort of slotted into a back six almost. And it worked, And this is one of the things I sort of tip my hat to in terms of Gratcher is he's got different ideas for different teams, and he's not afraid to do it. He's not afraid to do it. We've been pumped 4-1 there, and you don't see anybody kicking off saying it's Gratcher's fault. Realistically, there's a small minority. There's
especially
a minority
when you look at Arsenal top at league. We're fighting for obviously to stay in the Premier League, and you've got bloody Liverpool have just been dicked by the second in the league, Man City, exactly the same scoreline.
Exactly the same score. Yeah.
So it's one of them, innit?
I
don't think any of us really expected to go down there and get something, really, if we're honestly,
I think if Arsenal played...
I would honestly my prediction.
I think if Arsenal played another team in a relegation battle at the weekend there, I reckon they'd probably beat them 7 or 8-0.
Yeah.
I think they're that good.
Yeah. It would have been a big score, I think.
Yeah, so yeah, look, don't let it get us down too much. They're not our battles. Now, we'll come on to two of our battles later on tonight, but yeah, you mentioned predictions there, Gilly. Why don't you give us a bit of a rundown, a bit of a?
Yeah.
I will find the button if you want. Or you're just going to do it. I can't.
Button.
Yeah, there we go.
Auto know better predictions.
Yeah, so as usual with a Leeds defeat, there's not a huge amount of points being handed around.
Yes, there is.
I just pick out, no, not a huge amount of points. There are some points. So Smarty went to 1-1 draw.
That's a minus now, isn't it? What have I got to do? Is it not?
It's only a minus.
No, because Leeds didn't win.
No, you're fine. You're fine this week.
That's all right.
You're all right.
That's okay.
So because Leeds
-3.
lost, there's no minuses at all being handed out this week. So Smarty and Jay and the fans, but I didn't get a name passed. I went on the pod. I didn't get a name passed. And Bren all went with a 1-1 draw. Stats went with a 2-2 draw. Joe went 1-0 Leeds. Carl went 2-1 Leeds. And Cy Johnson went 3-2 Leeds because that was the scoreline that he played in. And for no other reason other than that. I went 1-0 Arsenal. Luke went 2-0 Arsenal. And Jason went 4-0 Arsenal. So he was very, very close to maximum points, but only gets one anyway. So there's only 3 points handed out. And the only change is Luke goes from 4th to joint 3rd.
Well done, Luke.
Well
done.
With Carl.
Carl. Sharing a spot with Carl. Hey, me and Carl on the same spot. Same positioning.
Moving swiftly on.
Right. Cool.
Yes.
So, in terms of the predictions, then there's not a lot going down and not a lot going up. But
That's what she said.
Okay.
Let's move on to Gilly again. And why don't you tell everybody about what you and I have been up to these past 3 days? And the few others.
Yeah. So, Big Lou from LS11, Luke and myself, Bren and Carl have all started on a challenge. So this is moving ourselves under our own steam from the equivalent of the distance from Ellen Road to the Spurs Stadium and back from the 1st of April through to the last game of the season on the 28th of May.
Which is against Spurs.
Which is against Spurs. So how much detail do I want to give? There were alleged misdoings on Twitter. Without getting too into that,
Do we need?
But,
can we not? I mean, we're not that big time, are we? I mean, we can name it, can't we?
Say it.
So, some shithouse.
Yeah.
Some shit out.
Maybe don't name
Some
it.
shithouse who needs to boot up the sheriff's badge.
Yeah, actually does. So the charity have been in touch. They have spoken to us. They're going to provide us some bump and some details and some videos about the good stuff that they get up to in the community, the work that they do in schools and with youth teams and so on. So it's Leeds United Foundation that we're doing it for. And what spawned it was allegedly somebody not passing on some funds that they'd raised by purportedly being a Leeds fan. But it's been confirmed that those funds have not been passed across by the charity themselves. So we are in a bid to overcome that. We will share the Just Giving page, the link, and so on. It is really difficult at the moment. The cost of living challenge is high, and so on. We really understand that. If you can share the details, if you can, if you're unable to provide anything that you can do, we would gratefully receive. And our Just Giving page is linked directly to the charity. We don't see a penny of it. It goes direct to them. So there's no worries there that anything will be repeated, even though we are all fine, upstanding citizens anyway.
Absolutely, yes.
And could do with a good night out.
There we go.
Thank you ever so much, Gilly. It's been tough. I'll be honest with you. I didn't expect 7 miles a day to be so tiring. I think
Smarty shit himself when we said it.
I know.
I didn't. I knew exactly what you were getting yourself into. That's why I went, no.
Can we just share it, lads?
Yeah, just share it.
Well, that's
are we doing 400 between us, like?
I thought, no, that's what I said. Like 400 between us. Yeah, that might be all right. No. Gilly went, it's 400 each. All of us who want to take part. We're all doing 400. I just went, no. Fucking not.
Between us, we'll do around about 2,000. Is it 2,000? 2,000 miles.
Some going is that. I really do doff my cap to you. I've done something similar before and it absolutely killed me. So that's why I said no. So good luck to you.
I'm on day 3, so
I will support you all. Wonderful gentlemen.
Well, you haven't sponsored yet, so get sponsoring.
I'd rather have a bath
That's
with me
true.
than do that.
If you're not getting out of the trainers and joining us on the walking, you can get your hand in your pocket from Smarty Tower.
Great.
Dead right.
I'll do you a penny a mile.
Each. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, so whoever's even if you just share it, we do appreciate that times, as Gilly say, are very, very tough at the moment for people. So even just the odd share here and there would be very much appreciated. Right, we didn't do a poll this week, and the reason we didn't do a poll is because we've got 2 games to talk about, a few other bits and bobs as well. But the first thing I want to talk about between us, and it's not necessarily Leeds related, although we could probably push it that way if we need to, but it's the manager merry-go-round or the manager mayhem in the Premier League this year. There's been 13 managers sacked this season in the Premier League. 13 of 20. 13 if you include
one left of his own volition, didn't
one
he?
left of his own. So there's been 13 different appointments. Sorry, 12 sackings. What do we make of that? Is this a new era of? I mean, that's never happened before. We've never had so many changes in one season. And does it just sort of, just highlight the point of how important it is to staying in the Premier League or doing what you're meant to be doing in the Premier League? You look at Chelsea sacking Potter after sacking who did they sack before? What was his name?
Tommy
Tuchel before, who they just spent 300 million under. Then they've signed Potter. They've spent 300 more million under Potter, and then they've sacked him.
And it cost them 60 million just to appoint him and sack him.
No,
probably.
Well,
I think he's on 20 million a year.
Yeah. So they didn't pay up his entire contract. They agreed a reduced fee. They didn't pay him up the rest of his contract. So
was it a 5-year contract as well? 4-year?
I think it was a 5-year contract, but obviously he's nearly. Well, it's only half a year through it, so I mean, they'll have to say it because of the shareholders. They'll have to share the information, so we'll see exactly what it is. But whatever it is, it's an inordinate amount of money, but pales in comparison to the amount that they spent on players. So I think the thing. So you look at Chelsea, and Chelsea are an absolute mess. They really are. And Bowley came in and said we're going to bring stability to the club. Well, I don't think I've not looked back over the term. I know that Abramovich was known for somebody that wasn't unwilling to pull the trigger when he felt it was necessary. But I don't remember him sacking 2 in one season. So if that's what stability looks like, I'm afraid I don't agree. I also don't think it's particularly stable spending £600 million on players in one season. That doesn't scream stability to me either. And if you look at what's his name, Draco Malfoy, Mudryk. I feel that they spent £80 million on a player there purely because they didn't want Arsenal to have him. They barely played him.
And FIFA had to make new rulings where you can't sign players over 7 or 8 years, which is what they were trying to sign all the players on. 7 or 8 years.
They haven't made that rule because Mudryk's on a 10-year contract or something.
That's what I mean. Like they were making people on extended contracts.
It was a long one.
I thought it was a little bit lower.
Because that allows them to amortise the player contract over an extended period for FFP. So I mean, it's absolute madness. But yeah, I mean, but then you look at Spurs and you look at Conte, and I think that remarkable press conference that he gave was the writing on the wall. And I was surprised that it took a week after that. I think it was in the international break before he went. But if you look at the year that he's had. I think a family member and one of his best mates passed during the course of this season, and he's had operations where he's not even been able to get to the football and not been able to do his job, and he's had to hand that over to the first team coaches. That one's a bit of an outlier. I think if you look at Nathan Jones at Southampton, the second he was brought in, I think we all knew that he was going to be sacked before the end of the season, or he would take him down anyway. So. There are some, but the sheer volume of it, I think, does echo the fact of what you're saying, Luke, and what we've said between us ourselves when we've been on here and when we've been in the group chat, is this is the worst possible time to get relegated from the Premier League. Absolute 100% worst possible time. It is so important. The disparity between the Premier League and the Championship, the income that you can generate and so on, is just widening all the time. And I know that they're trying to overcome that off the back of the fan-led reviews and we saw we saw the head of the FA, the head of the Premier League, and the head of the Football League in front of the sports committee last week, talking about how they're going to overcome the disparity between the two, and I shared the difference that when the Premier League at its inception, when it was created, the Football League represented 75% of the income of the Premier League, and now that's 6%, with a disparity of £3 billion difference of revenue generated. It's absolutely insane, and it's desperation. It's 100% desperation. Unless you're desperate, you don't sack Vieira and bring in Roy that you got rid of because you wanted a progressive manager.
I was on Joe's podcast last night, and Joe said something along the lines of, now, if you sack your manager at this stage of the season, you do not improve your finishing position to where you are. So if they're 12th, what Joe said is sacking their manager will not. Statistics have shown that it's never been sort of disproved that no matter what, you cannot finish higher so far. I mean, obviously you can, but what he's saying is,
but I think it's statistically over the last 10 seasons. I think it was Phil A who said it last week on his podcast. That's probably where he got it from. He came out with it. Yeah. Are we in a new norm now? Then is this what we can expect season on season? Is every club going to just sack their manager once things don't go right for a few months? It's almost counterproductive to me. You spend all this money bringing the perfect candidate in to lead your club. I never thought Potter was right for Chelsea anyway, but that's beside the point. I mean, they're not going to probably qualify for the Champions League. They're in a position where, mid-table. They're not going. No matter who they bring in.
There's one way that they can, and that's winning the thing. And I think they're less likely to do it now than had they kept him.
Absolutely.
And that's what's mad for me.
Sorry, I dropped my pen.
Oh yeah, we can't do without you clicking that for us.
I've been clicking it.
Season 1.
if you look at the management that's changed over the course of the season, starting with Scott Parker in the August.
It's absolutely mad that Scott Parker has managed in the Premier League this season.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It seems
because he was sat at the right end of August, literally right at the start. And then obviously, we Potter and Rodgers sacked the same day. I mean, we've had Conte and Vieira within a matter of a week and a half as well.
So
you got Nathan
interestingly, one thing that I heard today, I think it might have been on the Guardian, it might have been on the Ramble. I think it was on the Guardian. Is the last time that two managers got sacked on the same day in the Premier League was in 2015, and one of them was Brendan Rodgers.
Oh, really?
Now, this is where I want to move things, and I've already talked about it briefly last night, but I wanted to move the question on to you two guys that was asked last night was, would you be looking at any of these available managers for Leeds if we stay up in the summer?
No.
I think I agree with your point, Luke, around Potter not being right for Chelsea. But he's somebody that needs a long-term project. Yeah. And if he's
literally going to say the same thing. Yeah.
If he's given space and given time and he's given the reins to go and lead, I think that he'll have success wherever he goes. And I don't think he gets that with us. I think if we gave him it, he'd get some success. I don't think he gets that with us.
I don't understand why Chelsea took him, because I think we all said at the start that's not going to work out because Chelsea want impact, an impact sort
instant
of
success,
and that what happened with Rodgers, with Potter. He's a guy who needs a few seasons to get his team, and they're buying so many different individuals at Chelsea. That's going to take a hell of a job for someone to get a bloody team out of that lot.
The problem is that Potter's not signing these individuals. The club is signing these individuals, and I think Potter's history shows that he is good at improving players that are relatively unknown on the continent, or even South America and everywhere. And turning them and coaching them to be good players and playing a particular way for a particular system. If you're bringing in world-class players that think they're the dog's bollocks and they already know how to play football to the best way and all that, I can imagine it was such a tough job to try and. There must be so many egos within that dressing room, and that's not for me, or certainly it's not historically shown what Potter was good at Brighton. So that's. I just didn't ever see it. But going back to the question, I was asked this question last night. I said no, and the reason I said no, I wouldn't have any of them is because I think Gracia deserves a chance if he keeps us up. And I think we go on about how loyal we are as a fan base and how loyal we should be, and we expect loyalty from players and everyone else. What would not giving Gracia an opportunity what would that speak? How would that look as a real loyal fan base? And it just wouldn't sit right, I don't think, for me. If we go down, I also think Gratcher is probably the best man to bring us back up.
Yeah.
I think if you look at the way that he sets out sides and the way that he adapts his teams, he shows a level of insight that you need to have some success. I think he's not likely to be somebody that's a long-term manager at our club. I think if you look over the course of his career, I think he's had 15 clubs that he's worked at. So he's not likely to be somebody that's going to go fight. I mean, I'm not going to say he won't do, because we saw with Bielsa, he never sticks in a job longer than 18 months, 2 years, and then he did with us. So it's potential that he will be around for longer. But if you look at the history that he's had, it's unlikely that it's going to be longer. But I think he's done enough so far, and if he keeps us up and keeps us up well, none of this scraping through by the skin of our teeth because Newcastle beat somebody on the last game of the season sort of stuff, with it out of our hands almost. If he keeps us up and we go into that last game needing a point, or we're already safe or whatever, I mean, hopefully already safe, then he's done more than enough, I think, for me to earn that next season. Whether he'd be there beyond that or not is a different matter, because the history in the games says that he probably won't be.
Coleslaw on Toast makes a good point here. Keep Gratcher if we stay up. Show that loyalty. Give him a shot. Give him some money. Let's see what he can do under his style and that, I suppose. But daft not to have contingency plans just in case Gratcher doesn't want to stay. What we don't want is to be in the same position where we're in when we sacked Jesse Marsh. And now I know Gratcher was sort of 5th or 6th choice, but he's come and he's giving it his all. There's no denying that he's not. I think he said in a press conference, it wasn't the most recent one, but one last week, that he just doesn't sleep. He just goes to football and then goes to the training ground. He goes to Thorpe Arch.
Somebody else's bed at Thorpe Arch, apparently.
Is he actually?
Yeah, genuinely, yeah.
Bloody hell. See, that's some commitment, and that's something that speaks loudly to me. And I think
he's working his bollocks off for club and for team. And
absolutely.
that alone, that alone, you deserve a shot at a brand new season with enough time to, set your principles, get your team playing exactly the way you want it, bring some more players in, get rid of some dead wood, because I'm sure there's a few people that want to be off we go. I think if Ariola, I can't remember how you pronounce his name. I think if he comes sniffing around,
it's not Ariola. We're back to Stadger's podcast.
I thought I'd just throw it up there, fucking shit.
But there was a footballer called Ariola.
Sounds like
there was a Spanish right back. There was a Spanish right back. I'm sure he was called Ariola. Or is that might have been Ariola, actually. I might just be completely mixed up.
I don't know.
What's the goalie called for Fulham? Used to be at Fulham. He's now at somewhere else.
What was the question?
What's the goalkeeper called? The French goalkeeper.
Iriola, isn't it?
Iriola. No, I don't know. There's that many fucking similar sort of.
Ariola, he is the West Ham keeper.
Oh, yeah.
He was at Fulham before, I'm sure. Anyway, we digress.
Spanish manager.
There was also a Brian Penis at Newcastle.
Christ.
Sorry, continue, Smart. I do apologize.
It's a 20-foot cock and balls, man.
Lost. Sammy the Snake.
20-foot cock and balls, Jerry.
I think if he comes sniffing around, I think I'd be tempted to see what he could do. But like you say, if Gratcher keeps us up and keeps us up well, and I think he deserves an opportunity to take us forward into the new season, 100%.
Yeah, what we don't want to do for me is do what we did, and humble pie. But we don't want to do what we did with Jesse Marsh and throw our eggs in one basket because he keeps us up. If we have got better options out there, do we take them? Is the question.
The worry I've got with that is Jesse Marsh was who the board
thought was right. Yeah, I suppose,
as the long-term successor. It wasn't it wasn't a short-term appointment. They tracked him for 2 years and decided that he was the man. Hell or high water, he was coming in, whether he came in the summer, whether they let Bielsa go early, he was the man that was coming in. So what that says to me is that they don't know what they're fucking doing. They need to get out of the way. They need to let somebody else take over. And actually, all bets are off if we get somebody else taking over, don't we?
The problem, yeah, that's what I mean. The problem we've got then is there's so much uncertainty as to what happens to this club and who owns it in the summer. The realism is we don't have a fucking clue what's going to happen, do we? Whether we stay up or go down, we don't know. We honestly don't know, do we?
We need a fresh start.
Well, if we go down, Big Sam's still looking for a job.
I would rather wash my balls in bleach.
I think Orta has run his race at Leeds. I mean, he's done good things. He's done good things, and I will hold my hands up and I'll say he's done good things, but he's done a fucking lot of bad shit as well. And I think that dickhead that they nearly had bloody managers instead of Gracia, that would have literally been the final nail in the coffin.
Who was that?
Because he was a fucking useless bastard. Him that were going to turn up, and they were that much of a kick-off.
No, it wasn't
not Slot.
I can't remember it. Well, he actually came to the game,
Schneider.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen out as bad on social media, kicking off wise, amongst the fan base since Badgegate. I mean, it was do not allow this twat to come and manage our fucking football team. Jesse Marsh, Mark II, no thanks. Piss right.
Alison has made a good point. The 49ers are still buying us regardless. Auto goes, Parag and Peter Lowry are going to be the main men running the club.
Yeah, but they're not directors of football, though, are they? They're just businessmen.
Well,
they're not.
Yeah,
but
Peter Lowe,
put the people in place.
He's part of Westfield Group, but Westfield Group are bought into the 49ers investment group anyway, so they will stick around. Parag's part of that as well, so they will stick around. Orta's already making noises about going back to Spain.
Hallelujah!
Yeah, Orta he's made overtures about going back to Spain.
So buy the plane ticket. We'll give him an OKB t-shirt. See you later, old cop. Cheers, thanks for your efforts.
But do you reckon you'll be able to find that one, Smarty, before we start?
What's that?
I'll fly myself.
Smarty says he's going to give me no better t-shirt. I said, you're going to be able to find that before we start.
It's in my car. It's actually in my car. Gilly gave me it about 2 years ago, and it's never been out of the bag.
Abdoulaye Doucouré is the man that's been sent off. So Everton are down to 10 men.
How long's been played in that? Did it kick off at 7:45?
What's
or
score?
It is 0-0 and it is 58 minutes in.
Oh, half an hour.
Twat playing. Is that usually shit out?
Kane.
You're gonna have to narrow it down.
Kane, Son.
Yeah.
Yes,
England's number one goal scorer. Absolute fucking fraud.
Schlong, that was him, wasn't it?
And he'll put it away. Schlong, yeah, because he was going to be managing William Cock.
Yeah, and the other day, actually...
Slot. Slot and Slon coming in to manage
the other day, OKBJ, our very own, actually was the first to point out, I didn't really notice either, but we have got a Max and Paddy playing for us, haven't we?
You said that on...
of course, yeah.
Said it in the chat last week?
In the chat, yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have given him any credit for that. I didn't realise it.
Actually, it was me, but he just copied.
Yeah, copy and paste.
Yeah, we'd all talked about it the day before, haven't we, in group chat?
Yeah. So are we all in agreement then that regardless up or down, we give Gracia a chance in the new year?
Only time will tell, Paul. Let's not get his fucking tits in a twist just yet.
Yes.
Time will tell.
I'm not certain it's going to be a great day when they do. I'm not fully invested in it being them. I've just lost faith with the ones that we have. And
I'm shit scared of them changing name at stadium or something daft like that, doing something stupid because they don't. The
stadium will always be on road, though, won't it?
They'll have to be very wary, and I think that one of the positives and the bonuses we've got is with Lowy being on the board, he's a Leeds United fan. Lowy, whatever it is. Now, they have got to be very, very careful. Lowy, they've got to be very, very careful. Whoever takes us over, if they take us over, they have got to be very careful. And what we don't want to see is a bigger raffle for tickets. We don't want to see, a bigger amount of tickets being saved for the ballot, so we can have more day trippers spending more money, and it will just turn Ellen Road into an absolute, a carnival. It'll just be a day out, and they've just got to tread carefully. Whilst we want to encourage new people to come and extend the stadium and have more season tickets, it's got to be done gradually. You know, there's got to be things put in place to ensure that the people who have been long time fans of the club still get what they want out of a match day experience, as well as people who are only coming for a day, you know, coming over from wherever they're coming. So it's a tough one. It's very tough. If you want to grow, you've got to make more money. If you want to sign the better players, you know, we've just talked about it. You've got to make more money. Simply, unless you've got a baron that's got billions of pounds at his disposal or her disposal, that just wants to spend money because it's a bit of a hobby and buy a racehorse the next day. And you know, it's if we want to do it properly, it's got to be done very carefully. I feel, because we've shown that we're a very, you know, A and B side, black and white type fan base. There's one side or the other. There's no grey area with us as fans.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think if you look at Chelsea, it's obviously, I mean, the amount of money that we're talking about is huge. But, you know, Bowley's a billionaire and he fronts up investors, and they've spent £600 million on players. And then the amount that they spent to buy the club, I can't remember, 4.1 billion or something mad like that. You know, they're not making money off that. If somebody offers them the money that will give them an equivalent of what they've bought in for, they would snap their hands off. You know, the amount of money in the Premier League is massive, but it's a play thing. And that's what I'm saying about its sustainability and stability, where Bill is talking about stability, and it's absolutely not, because none of that's sustainable. And if we get too far away from that stability and then somebody gets bored, that's when you're fucked. And that's what we don't want to see. But alienating the fans is only
Leicester's a great prime example.
Yeah, and alienating the fans by renaming the stadium and then making it really difficult to get tickets, reducing down the number of season tickets so you can properly rinse people that are coming on a match day, that sort of thing. That's what's going to alienate a fan base. And it would take a lot to alienate Leeds, but we saw with Bates, he did a lot. And he alienated the fan base, you know, it became poison because at the top of the club was poison, and you can see that does echo down the hierarchy of a club. You can see that. So I don't know. I'm a little worried about the 49ers investment group. It depends on who ends up in the board. You know, as we've said, Lowy is a Leeds fan, which makes me a little bit more confident that it's not going to just sit there and just allow them to take the piss. So I am slightly concerned, but I do think Rads, that Tory bastard Kinnear and all, you know, their days run with us. You know,
I think so.
They don't even appear to have the capacity or the wherewithal or the passion or the stomach for the fight or for doing what's needed to be done. I think we all saw what needed to be done.
Kinnear's a fucking bellend, isn't he?
Well,
he's such a fucking arsehole.
So,
I've been
talking to myself. I'm muted. I'm muted because my little one was shouting. I've just been talking to myself. I was like,
really padding. I was saying things I really think, but I was waiting for you to come back.
I was been talking to myself for the last 5 minutes. Yeah.
It sounds like it would have Kane dive, by the way. Doucouré did put his hand in Kane's face, and then Kane's milked it for all it's worth and got him sent off.
Yeah, it's
good.
About right, isn't it?
Good. Right, I think we've probably touched upon enough of managerial merry-go-round there. We'll move on to tomorrow night's game, which is the reason we're here tonight. Thanks, everybody, for joining us a day early. We do appreciate it. Forest haven't won a game in 8. Their last win came against Leeds United, and they've only won once.
4 away goals all season, is it?
Having won once and against Southampton on the road. So all points to a Leeds win then, done it, Smarty?
Yeah. Why not?
Is that it?
I think. Have we got any further news on? I'm sure Nonto's been seen with a Buzz Lightyear boot on, knocking about at third floor park. What about Verba? Have we got any news on him?
I mean,
no.
Nothing concrete.
Weird, is it?
I mean, they've had the
penalty to Spurs.
Penalty to Spurs.
Oh well, Kane will score that.
They've had the little. They've had the little manager bounce now with Roy, haven't they? Statistically, I mean, they've got the best run out of all the bottom sort of 7 or 8 teams, I think. So
hang on, who's had the bounce with Roy?
Who's Roy?
Are we talking about Palace?
We've got Forest tomorrow.
Oh shit!
Forest
Sorry.
tomorrow
Sorry, apologies. Who the fuck's managing Forest now?
Same
still
lad.
got Cooper.
They're one of the only
Oh, yeah,
sides
of
that have
course.
not sacked their gaffer.
Tell you what, I need to go to bed, lads. I'm really sorry. No,
Football
absolutely.
knowledge is
I think,
impeccable.
yeah.
I tell you what, he's a good-looking fella. I don't know how you can forget him.
Oh, Potter.
No, not
Who?
Potter.
What's he called? What's he called? What's he called?
We mentioned one manager. You've given him 2 different names already.
What's he? Fucking hell.
Steve Cooper.
Cooper, not Potter. Fucking hell. I need to go to bed.
Who? He was well chuffed
really
with
sorry,
himself
everyone.
as well, wasn't he? He
I'm
went,
really
who?
sorry, everyone.
Who? Potter.
I've not eaten for 3 days. I'm a poor orphan. I've just been playing football. Don't feel well.
Fucking
Right,
hell. They come here for all
fuck
fucking
me.
information, don't they?
Jesus. Oh yeah, with the absolute top shelf of footballing in sight. Yeah, I think we beat them. I think we have to beat them. But I'd be concerned we don't know who's available, and I think Verba is a massive miss for us. And I think we'll struggle. I think it might be. Do you want to do it? Are we doing predictions as well, or are we doing that
We'll
afterwards?
do that in a minute.
Okay.
Just tell us how you think the game's going to go, given that Forest have got the worst away record in the league.
Yeah, I'd like us to play a little bit more on the front foot. I don't want to see the whole defensive style again. I think we need to take it to them, and we need to get an early goal and try and bury them as soon as we can. I can't say too much because I didn't see the Arsenal game, but I can comment, based on the other games that I've seen, and I think that we just need to take it to them, and we need to get at them.
I mean, the Arsenal game's an outlier, isn't it?
But I didn't see it, so I can't really say how they played.
But I mean, as a fixture, it's an outlier anyway. It's
someone would call it a 6-pointer, wouldn't it?
Battler. Arsenal? No.
No, I mean
Would you
Forest,
think? Would you think that that Gratch's actually been training this week with one eye on the Forest and Palace games, rather than actually, I'm sure they did their due diligence on Arsenal and set up in a particular way. We saw that at the weekend, but do you think they've maybe been concentrating a bit more of their effort into these next 2 games? Because they've had such a short turnaround. They can't do it in a day, can they? Simply. So what I'm asking, I suppose, Gilly, is do you think, whilst we've not had a game for the international break and we've been preparing for Arsenal, do you think some of the players who maybe were rested or didn't really feature much may have actually been focusing their efforts a little bit more on how to break down the Forest and Palace defences?
Yeah, maybe. I think if you look at the McKennie situation and the conversation that we had with his busy mate, 29, and the approach taken, I think he didn't feature in that game, or certainly I think that was protecting him and giving him an opportunity to get fit. Now, because of the fever or whatever it was that he had. Now, whether that means that he's 100% for this game or not, or whether that's 100% for Palace, maybe it even got worse and therefore just wasn't available or wasn't ready. It's all guessing games, and because our new manager plays his cards so close to his chest, it's really difficult to know exactly what position we're in. But you know what? I don't mind it. I really don't mind it.
Suggested that Sinistero wasn't fit before the Arsenal game, by the way, and he started.
How did he play?
All right, mate. Rusty. Rusty is the best way to put it.
Yeah. I'm seeing mixed stuff on him.
It looked all right. It looked all right. I think he was rusty, and you could see him blowing. But that's because of that sharpness. It's
obvious he's a class player. It's obvious he's a good player, isn't he? We've seen in the very few appearances that he's made for us how he can change a game. He was almost dubbed the new Raf for us, at the start, and he was almost living up to expectations. A right-footed Raf, he was scoring goals. He was one of our biggest attacking threats early on in the season. So. I don't mind him getting that many minutes and blowing out of his arse a bit, because I think it'll do him good moving into the next next part of the season. The last 10 games now we've got 10. Is it left? I think it was 11 before Forest. So
it's about
11 minus 1 is Yeah, 10. Yeah, look, I hope, and just to go back to what you said, Smarty, about you want to see us go for a little bit more. I've suggested we might see 2 up top. I've also suggested that we'll see a completely different. Well, I know we'll see a completely different sort of outset in comparison to Arsenal away. We're not going to settle like that at home to Notts Forest.
No.
So I'm quite looking forward to it in a weird way, and I think we're going to give him a fucking hiding.
I think that's what this coach brings us, though, don't he? The variability he's got in his setups allows us to go from what we had against Arsenal, which was, a complete outlier in terms of the side that he picked and the formation that he played, was a complete outlier to what we've seen previously in the season. But that doesn't mean that that's what we're going to do again. And that's what's different. His variability, his variations in his setup allows for that. So I think, it'll be night and day. We might, play with a similar style in terms of the first half hour against Arsenal, but we'll be set up to go and give them a game rather than be a bit cautious, which I think is what Arsenal was.
Are we overlooking this a little bit, though? Because we are Leeds United, and things like this, Forest only won 1 game away this season against Southampton. It would be very, very Leeds of us.
Of course it would.
To just hand it to them.
Hang on, Spurs are not being Spursy. So let's not have Leeds being Leeds.
Leeds not be Leedsy and Leeds.
Yeah.
The one thing I would say is, and I didn't really touch upon it because to be honest, I expected you to look, and then neither of us did. Was Jimmy was a real asset for us against Arsenal, and I fully expect him to start this game. He looked really, really dangerous. I think there was less emphasis on his defensive aspect because of the formation, but that allowed him a freedom to get on the ball and really go and hurt him. And he did. He got some credit in the bank for his performance. I thought he was really good, and he was a real outlet for us.
I think he plays best when he doesn't have to rely on an element of defending because he just can't.
Like because we had 6 men behind the ball at the back.
Yeah, exactly. So if he's given the freedom to attack and not have to worry about coming back and defending, then we play better. But we're not doing predictions or starting 11s, are we? So
you can give me a starting 11. You can give me your starting 11 if you like. How do you think we're going to line up?
I'm going to probably be more in line with whatever you two say because of how we played against Arsenal. I don't know because he's all over the place, isn't he? I don't know because I'd like to think I'd take the best bits of whatever we played against Arsenal and against Wolves and this and the other.
I think you can ignore Arsenal, to be honest. I think you can ignore the Arsenal setup because I don't think we'll see anything like it.
Look more towards the Southampton.
Do you think we'll play 2 up top then?
I hope so, and I think because we didn't see, and I know they're lacking minutes and things, but you'd think with all the time they've had with the international break and things, they might be ready now to play.
So if that's the case, who are you playing up top?
I'm playing them 2, Rodrigo and Paddy.
Rodrigo and Badford, yeah.
Yeah.
So is that a 9 and a? I mean,
one's going to be offset. I think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to stand as 4-4. I don't think we're going to be as blunt as a 4-4-2. I think we'll probably
Rodrigo will play behind Bamford, won't he?
In defence potentially, but I think in attack we might be more of a 4-4-2 and maybe even 4-1-3-2 at times with one holding midfielder with maybe McKennie getting forward. I think we'll line up with. This is how I think we'll line up. I think we'll be Firpo, Struijk, Koch and Aylin. I think we'll see Rocker and McKennie. And then think we will see 2 wide players. I'm going to go with Somerville starting and Jack. And then we'll see Paddy and Rodrigo for me, I think.
That's my side, 2 a man. That's exactly what I would pick him. And I think that's enough to get convincing handsome and someone else.
Sinister and probably come off the bench, or maybe I don't think he'll start over Jack. So I don't think he'll work out enough defensively. If
an issue, then it's not going to do his. I wouldn't have thought.
Unless he might start. He might start over someone.
He starts over Jimmy if he starts over anybody. But for me, Jimmy was so good against Arsenal that he's earned his shirt.
Yeah. Do you play them sort of players to have an impact, early on in the game, and then maybe rest them and bring someone else to swap them? I mean, like you guys have already alluded to, you don't know with Gratchi. It could do. It might not do. Who knows? But I think, yeah, I like the way your heads are at. If I'm honest,
that's a dangerous thing.
Yeah,
it is, isn't it? Like,
We don't
I wish I liked your head.
Bamford and Rodriguez.
What?
Shall we do predictions?
Yeah, let's do the predictions. Yeah.
Auto know better predictions.
So I grabbed the first one I saw was Jay Michaels, and he's gone 3-1 Leeds. So I'll come to you guys. I know Jay's in the comments. I don't know if I've seen Carl, but I've seen Jay. So Jay, get yours in there as well.
Who's highest of us three?
I was just about to check.
Jay went 4-2. Jay went 4-2 like his height.
So I've got Jay Michaels.
Has little Jay put his in?
Yeah, 4-2 like his height.
He's gone 4-2.
I don't know.
Are you making it up, or is he actually done it?
I'm talking shit. I don't know.
No, we'd said towards the end of the season, whoever's at the top goes first in terms of the prediction. So we need his first.
It doesn't matter if he's not in. If he's not on though,
which is fine. So I am matching Jay Michaels. So I am ahead of you by 1 point in the league. So I'll go before you, Luke, and I'm going to match Jay Michaels, and I'm going to go 3-1 Leeds.
I am going to go 4-2.
Honest.
Yeah.
And then Smarty, I think you're next.
Somewhere down there.
Okay, somewhere down there. just having a peer over the edge here. I'm going to go 2-1 Leeds. Hope.
And I've not seen anything for... Oh, no, Jay's 3-1 as well.
Look at him trying to protect his lead, the fanny.
Yeah. And that's why we should have waited, Smarty.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
What a germ he is. Anyway, let's... because we're not going to be back on before Palace, can we just have a couple of minutes chat on that? I know that Gilly and Jay, I think, are doing B&C on Wednesday, but I don't think it's not going to be in too much depth about Palace, I won't anticipate. So let's just have a bit of a chat about Palace. And obviously, they've got Woy. Smarty, this is the ones who've got Woy.
That's what I'm saying. At least I know this manager. Fuck you, Cooper and Potter and the rest of you bastards.
But yeah, Sunday, been moved to Sunday to facilitate Man City, of all people.
Obviously.
I don't know. So how do we see that one going? I think it'll be more challenging than... I think if they hadn't changed managers, I think it would have been an easier game because they were absolutely dropping like a rock. And they brought Woy in now. Now Zaha's out, I've heard. Who I
Gilly said that. Game. Have you seen anything since the game about it? Because he linked out a game, but I've not seen out since.
No, I'll have a look on
Hopefully
my fantasy.
He's also in a Buzz Lightyear boot. But then again, we'd be hypocritical.
No, it wouldn't have been a boot. It would look like a groin injury that he had.
Oh, did it? Oh, Buzz Lightyear leg boot then. full up to knackers, right up to hinge end. little plastic what's it. But we've already discussed that, bringing in a good manager doesn't necessarily have an impact on your results. So if they're dropping like a stone before, then
groin injury, 50% chance of playing.
Yeah, you say that, but I think there was some crazy stat about shots that Palace had. I'm willing to be corrected on this because I'm really dredging it from a few days ago. But I think they'd gone something like 3 games without having a shot on target.
That were the first few games after the Christmas, wasn't it, or something?
No, the last games before Vieira got sacked, I think they'd gone 3 games without a shot on target.
Oh, really?
And they'd gone since the World Cup up to that point without a win at all.
Yeah. Oh, that would the one. Yeah.
But we talk about changing a manager at this point of the season, and by halftime, when we all went and checked what was going on, they'd had 20 shots to Leicester's none.
31 they had in 90 minutes.
Yeah, but they'd had 20 by halftime.
Leicester are so bad, though, aren't they?
Yeah, so it's really difficult to get a measure of it. I think if you look at Rodgers' time, multiple appearances in Europe, I think he won a cup with them. So he'd had a good time, but his race was run. Absolutely, they're appalling. And if you look at the side that they've got, I mean, it's difficult for Leeds fans to understand how good Barnes is because he definitely turns on against us. But whether that's all season or not is a different matter. But they've got such quality in their squad. They cannot defend. Every single corner or free kick looks like it's going to produce a goal for the opposition. They can't defend
apart from when we play them.
Apart from when we play them. Well, we can't do it from set pieces anyway, can we? But what really pissed me off against Arsenal where Mark Rocker was stood over them all. And then he just ran over the ball and let Aronson take them, who can't. It's like, no, Rocker's got an amazing delivery. Just let him take the bastard. It's a difficult one. I think Zaha is a big loss for them because he's a lot of what they do. But they won that game without him.
Yeah, and absolutely changed the game plan to having no shots on target to absolutely peppering the goal. Now, my worry is if we get peppered, we will concede. We will.
Yeah, because we've not got the best shot stopper, have we?
I think that's been unfair.
He's a good shot stopper. Cracking one-on-one, but I don't think he's very good at shot stopping me, in my opinion. He lets some absolute
I do disagree. I think he is a good shot stopper. I think his positional sense lets him down at points.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So when he's not in the right position, he gets beat at his front post and things like that. But I think in terms of shot stopping, I disagree with you to an extent. But if it's positional sense and understanding, then I get where you're coming from. But I think if you look at right from 12th all the way down to the bottom of the table, I think attacking-wise, we've got more than anybody else.
Yeah.
If you
They've
look
got the
at
easiest running, haven't they, Palace? This is what I will
Palace
get to before I started going off on a tangent and talking about wrong football team.
When you say easiest, they are playing
most favourable.
The most of the sides around them rather than sides at the top of the league. But actually, easiest might be Liverpool, Chelsea, Scum. They're all shit at a minute. So in terms of being easy, there are sides that are going to be fighting and scrapping for Premier League survival, aren't there? So in terms of easy, in terms of league positioning, definitely Palace have got the easiest. Then you look at sides like Everton have got a horrendous running.
They have. Really bad. So just on that then, Palace, we're expecting a tougher game in summary than potentially tomorrow night, as long as we don't lose. What's the bare minimum, do we think, between us that we need to take from these two games?
Must not lose tomorrow, 4 points in total at least.
Agreed.
Exactly the same.
But it can't lose either for me. We need a point and 3 points. Either way around, I'll be happy. I won't be panicking too much if we get a draw only tomorrow night, even though I expect us to win comfortably. However, if we draw tomorrow and beat Palace, I'll be happy. I will.
I'd rather it be the other way around, but I get what you mean. I'd rather beat Forest than draw Palace. If we have to have 4 points for the next two games, I'd choose to beat Forest.
Agreed. Just because of league positions and things. Completely agree.
I think if we don't get a result tomorrow night, I think it will really make a really etchy atmosphere for Sunday. I think it'll be really, really tedious.
It's going to be like that until the end of the season, anyway.
I know, but like you say, putting the performances that we have done recently, and then potentially, I'm not saying that we do because I think we will beat them, but if it doesn't go our way tomorrow night, then I'll be like, oh dear, Sunday's going to be tasty.
I mean, you say it's going to do that to the end of the season, Luke, but Palace are in 12th at the moment, and if we win our next two games, we'll be above them. Yeah. So it will feel a lot better. Regardless of, we won't be safe by any stretch, but it will feel so much different if we're above Palace come Sunday night.
Suggest we fail to win one of these two. Are we relegated, do you feel?
No,
there's a lot of twists and turns, and that's why I stress we're not safe regardless. There's a lot of twists and turns left in this one, especially when you look at, West Ham are second bottom. Moyes has not been sacked yet. But
they've still got 2 games in hand.
Potentially some movement there. They have got games in hand, but I think they're still in Europe, so there's still more fixtures to play there. I think from a Saints perspective, I think they're pretty much nailed on. Nathan Jones was just a horrendous manager for them to take right from the start, and I think they're down. I think Everton have got a horrendous running. I think if they get beat tonight, Spurs being Spurs it, but I think if they get beat tonight, they're right in the mix. So if we lose tomorrow, there's lots and lots more twists and turns to come, but I'll be shitting myself.
Yeah, no.
I think we'll all be nervous, but when even Liverpool, I don't fear playing teams like Liverpool now.
Well,
in fact, I'd be more confident about playing Liverpool than playing the teams that are fighting and around us. To be honest,
one of the news stories on the BBC website, just as I was checking the league positioning, then one of the news stories is Klopp only is still in a role because of his history, not because of what he's done this season.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that tells a story in itself.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Like then, shall we take some predictions for Palace?
Auto know better predictions.
So I'm going to hang on for Jay, and we also want a fans one. So I've got Jay Michaels for the Forest game. So if another prediction can be given in the comments.
So while we're waiting for those predictions, shall we just have a very quick discussion about this? What do you think of referees wearing body cameras as tested out in Sunday and lower leagues?
I think it is good. I had it will not surprise you to find that I've been arguing on Twitter. But I've got Bremner's Ghost 2-1. I had a run in with. I don't know if it was somebody that is a ref or works at PJMOL or whatever, but were really battering me over my take on referees being shit, constantly making mistakes, no accountability, VAR, no accountability, not being able to listen back to the recordings, all of the shit we've all talked about plenty of times over the course of the season. Yeah. So I think it's a good thing, but I only think it's a good thing if it's used for good.
Fucking hell. Spurs have had
if it's not there, I agree. If it's not there to protect the referees, and we hear everything that comes from it and the reasons he's come to decisions, absolutely. My concern is that it's there to protect the refs from players. What's up, Smarty?
Tottenham have had Lucas has sent off.
It's not a penalty, is it?
No.
So yeah, it's that like one of them for me. As long as it's for the good of the game, Gilly, I agree with you. But as long as it's not just there to protect the refs and hear what's said to the ref, we don't want to hear what's said
to the refs.
Them.
You know, I'm not against protecting the refs. I think they get a lot of shit, but use it as a force of good as well.
Yeah. I completely agree. It looks like Jay's pissed off to go climb onto the kitchen side.
No, he only went 1-0.
Oh, did he?
I saw him.
He did.
Comment.
Oh, yeah, 1-0 for this one.
Sorry, Jay. Sorry, Jay. You can get off the cupboards now, off the side. You're not having a pack of Haribo.
Right then. So it's me next then.
Yes, it is you. Although you might not be in that position come the time.
No, but at this point, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go next if you want. I've already written mine down.
No, go for it, mate.
I've gone 4-1 Leeds
against Palace.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bloody hell, mate. I'm going to go... Fuck. 3-2 Leeds. I see a lot of goals coming up, don't I? Have I gone 3-2 in both games? 3-1 and 3-2.
3-1 and 3-2, yeah.
4-2, 3-2.
4-2 and 3-2. Lots of goals. Get on your both teams to score. Smarty.
I'm going to go 2-0 Leeds.
Clean sheet?
Yeah.
With a keeper that can't save a shot?
Keeper that can't save shots.
The worst shot stopper against the team that's just had 31 shots on goal.
Yeah, but not fucking target, though.
Clean sheet. Perfect sense, Smarty.
You've had a shocker tonight, mate.
Yeah,
I like you.
I don't think so.
You've had
I don't think so. I think a clean sheet. No, it's not just down to your fucking keeper, is it? Christ alive, it's down to your fucking defence, is it?
Yeah. But where was out?
But Palace are dreadful going forward. They can have a million shots as much as you want. Fucking look at Steve Morrison. He had a shot and he put it into fucking East Stand. So that's a shot. You know, who gives a shit? I still don't think they'll score. I hope they don't score now.
They're going to batter us now. You've said all of that.
Yeah, they're going to 4-0 Palace bastards.
Every
chance. I'm thinking them wankers are going to give me some right.
No, they
shit.
haven't.
Everton have scored. Michael Keane 1-1.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake. Oh, Jesus Christ.
VAR.
Has he gone to VAR?
Fuck knows, I hope so.
I'm not watching. I'm not. Bastards, aren't they? They're fucking Spurs.
No, I've got the ticker on BBC website. So
right then.
I've got no else.
Does anybody have an auto bitter this week?
No.
I feel like I've ranted enough already.
Yeah, we've all been ranting.
For
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us down to the last little portion.
Shit,
and
we're 18th.
Oh yeah, that does put them above us, doesn't it?
Fuck.
we've got to win. We've
They
got to
played
win
a game more though. So, fuck.
Yeah.
Still doesn't
Anyway,
look good, does it?
some of you may have noticed this lovely signed shirt, 2002, I think.
Yeah, it's a 1-2 season, isn't it? Yeah.
Kindly donated by somebody who watches the podcast. Lad called Jay. I tagged him on Twitter earlier. Thank you ever so much, Jay, for supporting the podcast, but also we're supporting charity. So that shirt is going to be silently raffled off, and we're going to give it into to next. When should we give it to? To the end of the month?
Does that mean like a silent auction? Is that?
Yeah. So basically, all you need to do, no silent auction. So if you want to put a bid on it, just DM us or email us, whatever your bid, and we'll keep people up to date what the highest bid is. Loads and loads of signatures on there from that team. I can see Jamie Winter there. Lots of youth players, staff, and first team as well. So yeah, if you want a chance of winning that, you can.
The main man.
Get involved.
Oh, Jay Michaels, there he is. Thank you, Jay. We've also got another couple of bits, but we'll start with this one. So yeah, Jay, thank you ever so much from everybody. We are going to be donating all of the proceeds of the winning raffle, I suppose, to
auction.
Andy's winning auction.
The raffle's by numbers, isn't it?
I've got Andy's Man Club right. Can you just give me a break? I've not even said it yet, but I've got it right.
Yeah, you have to be fair.
So yeah, Jay very kindly asked us to donate any of the proceeds to Andy's Man Club, and we've been in touch. They're more than happy to receive the fund. They're going to support and retweet. Yeah, thank you ever so much from everybody. We do appreciate it. So yeah, we'll get that one out. We'll do a bit of a post either later or tomorrow. But if you do want to put any bids on it, you can either just drop us a DM on Twitter or an email at oughtknowbetterpod@gmail.com, I believe.
Yep.
So yeah, give us a shout. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it tonight. We got anything else you want to touch on?
I just want to go to bed.
No, well, I'd love to go to bed, but I need to go out and do a bit more walking.
Yeah, you're a bit behind today, aren't you?
Oh.
Well, I'm still ahead of the curve because I did best part of 20 miles in first 2 days. But I'm slightly short today, and I want to make sure that I stay ahead of that curve.
It's all right for a week. You'll be smashing the shit out of it. Come week 4. Oh, God. I've got to go and walk 9 miles because I didn't finish yesterday. Christ.
It's not.
At the moment, I've got a total distance of 5.4, so I'm not too bad. A couple of miles and we'll be there.
What, round
Wicked.
block?
Yeah, thank you ever so much, everybody, in the comments joining us on a impromptu Monday. We're not really used to being here so close to the weekend, but yeah, we'll be back Wednesday night with Gilly and Jay to do a B&C, Brady and Coke on the Forest game, and then probably back early next week, probably Monday, I would imagine, to do the B&C on Palace, and then back to the normal pod next Tuesday. So yeah, thanks ever so much, everybody.
Cheers
all.
Cheers, take it easy.